Okay, so we're going to jump right in here to the TTU Credit Union project. And what I've done, what I always do for each semester, is I create a folder in my OneDrive. And I know last semester there was a lot of consternation and confusion about where to store projects. Everybody's got to make their own decision. What I'm doing, what I've always done, is use OneDrive. At times it's not perfect, but I've always been able to get done what I need to do. So I've got my construction 2 folder, okay? And inside of here, I'd like you to, I think it would be a good idea if you'd make a projects folder, because we're going to be working on 3 projects throughout the semester, okay? And the first one is going to be called the TTU Credit Union. And then inside of there, I would make these 4 subfolders, okay? This is Survey, GIS, CAD, and PDF. All right, and we're going to kick it off with GIS. And I don't know if you saw on the syllabus, but we're really only going to be using GIS about less than 10% of the time in this course. But when we do use it, it's going to be very valuable, all right? And it's going to help us get our projects kicked off the right way. So we're going to open up Pro. Okay, and we are going to create a new map project. Okay. All right, and what we're going to do here is simply call this TTU okay, and we do not need a folder for this project because we did create that GIS folder under our project. Now we just need to point the software to that GIS folder we created. So we're going to click on this browse, and I am going to go to my OneDrive, Texas Tech. Okay. And then I'm just going to click that and click OK, and it's going to put all of the data that we need in there. So we don't have a folder inside of a folder. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we are going to name this map. All right, and we'll just give that the same name as always, just the project name. And this is going to be at the scale that we're going to use for this project. And that, I'll just tell you straight up, is 20 scale, okay? And that's going to be important because we need to create locator maps that are probably going to be more around, I don't know, a kilometer in scale. So we'll get started with that, and what we're going to do is open up our browser. Okay, so I've got to come, it's weird when I have this, let me come here, when I've got the screen recorder on. Okay, so open up your browser, just type in Lubbock GIS, come on over here. And what we're doing here is we're getting some excellent high resolution imagery. I don't know if you remember the lecture we had last semester on resolution, but we discussed how oftentimes satellite data will take a full square meter of Earth and transform it into one colored pixel. And that's okay for enormous areas, but this resolution takes only 3 square centimeters of Earth and translates that into a pixel. So it is about as high resolution as you can get. And to find that, we're going to go to public data. all right, and we are gonna go to this REST services, all right? And we will come here to the 2022 City of Lubbock. We're all gonna, let's just use the state plane. That's what I always like to use. And all you gotta do here is right click and copy link address. All right, and then I like to use, and leave this open. Then I like to use Alt Tab and go back to my other software, okay? And what we're gonna do here is we are gonna go to Map, Add Data, okay? And we're gonna choose from Path, and we're just gonna do a Control V and add that. And then that's gonna set our coordinate system, and it will also zoom into the extents of this imagery. Okay, so at this point we can turn this stuff off, and all we're looking for is a really good high resolution image of the credit union that we can trace on top of, okay? So let's zoom in to the TTU campus, all right? And I can tell you it is in the southwest corner, okay? And it's not too far from, and you do need to go visit it. That is part of the assignment. I would wait for a nice sunny day, all right? But this is generally where Kasner is. So this is the Spirit Arena, and here is our credit union, okay? So I'm gonna make a super quick bookmark and just call this CU Credit Union at 20 scale. All right, looking good. Okay, so I'm gonna do a Control S at this point, and now come up to Insert. We're gonna do a new layout. Now, all of our sheets that we're gonna be producing for all of our projects are gonna be 24 by 36 inches. That's standard for most construction projects. You will see larger sheets at times, and that's just because of the way the size of the building is and the scale they wanted to work with, okay? But 24 by 36 inches is fairly standard, and then you'll also see a lot of 11 by 17, and that's handy for when you go out in the field and the wind is blowing hard, and those big sheets just, they're not gonna work, trust me. All right, so grab your 24 by 36 Arc D. All right, and we are gonna go up to Map Frame and just choose this fella here. That's our bookmark. I think they're both the same pretty much. We're gonna draw this out the whole way. Okay, and let's see what that looks like. I'm gonna give it a little bit, there we go. Okay, so the first thing we wanna do is get our scale set. Okay, and so what we're gonna do here, remember this icon controls the size and shape of your paper, but this one is like your viewport, okay? So this is the one that really matters once you get your paper set, okay? So your map frame, so click on that guy, and you don't need to rename this. Let's make sure everything is in there good. All right, you don't want this, not too important, but in this case. Okay, now here's what's cool. You can come right down here to scale and just type 1 inch, okay, equals 20 feet. And then it'll do the math for you, okay? And then when we get to CAD and we import this image, on the import window, instead of saying choose scale, in model space, you're just gonna type in 240 and it's gonna come in perfectly to scale. Okay, it'll be at real world scale. All right, now we're gonna rotate this 1.75. Okay, and now what I think we should do is, I think that looks good, okay? Now, what's important is that we catch all the corners of our property. So our AOI is going to be delineated, let's say right about here, okay, right where that parking lot is, okay, and then right where this curb is, okay, and then this is the part that sticks out, but it's going to be very important because there's expensive signage there, okay, and then here's our bottom border. So with our map frame selected, you can see the grips. Just type Q and that activates it, and you're instantly given your pan tool. So now I'm going to drag down, and that looks good, okay? So I've got, because we're going to want to name these roads in CAD to give the folks working on this an idea of what's going on. Okay, so we have the entire site in here. Okay, so looks good. Now let's go right back to layout, and we're going to do a Control S. Okay, Alt Tab and go back to the City of Lubbock GIS site and go to Public Data again. Okay, and what we're going to choose now, let's see. We are going to choose, give me 1 second. Okay, so it was under REST services. So if you go to public data, okay, and then REST services, all right, what we're looking for here is our parcels, okay? So let's grab that, same deal, right click on here, copy link address, Alt tab over to our credit union, and we are gonna go over to our map up here on the tabs map, add data from path, Control V, give that a second to kick in, add that. Okay, now that's below our aerial imagery, so let's see what we got here. It's taking a little bit of time. Okay, great. So there are the official boundaries of our building. Now this is the building footprint, this isn't the roof, okay? And this is what we are gonna draw our building off of, okay? Now there's gonna be a little bit of discrepancy from this and the aerial imagery, but you always have to pick one or the other. And that way you could tell your boss, hey, I went with the city's GIS footprint, and he's gonna say, all right, that sounds good, better than you just guessing it from aerial. So we're gonna export both of these maps, okay? So let's come back over here to layout. Now these guys are perfectly stacked on top of each other, okay? You're just gonna have to take my word for it so we don't keep messing around here. And now we are just gonna export this guy. So we're gonna come up to share, okay, and we're gonna export the layout. And we are gonna export it as a JPEG, okay? That's really the best way to bring stuff into CAD, unless you're working on a PDF thing that, trust me, that gets really complicated. All right, and you don't want your pixels to go over about 5400. So 150 DPI is about all we can get here, and that's gonna be fine for us. Okay, so let's tell it where to go, and for now we're just gonna keep it simple. Well, we could just put it right here. If you just click up here to your construction 2 projects, okay, where we want to put all of our imagery and all of our photographs, field notes, all of those things you want to put in your survey folder, okay? So double click on that, and what we're going to do is we are going to call this parcel outlines. Yeah. Okay, there we go. And we're just going to click OK. and we are going to export that. Okay, so that jumped out pretty quick. Now let's turn off the parcels and we are going to turn on the imagery. Okay, now this might take a little bit. Oh, there we go. Okay, same deal. We're going to put it in the survey folder. Okay, and we're going to call this TTU CC aerial. All right, and keep it simple like that and export. Okay, now that's it for this video. In the next one, we are going to import these JPEGs into our into AutoCAD, into the DWG template that I have for you on Blackboard. So I will see you in the next video.